Another day. Gonna be 70 degrees today and 80 tomorrow. It's not even March yet. So we got this tape. I found it. I forgot that I had it. But I found it inside, and that's good because we got some stuff to tape up. Found this thing. I do in fact need this. I'm gonna have to fabricate something to work with my brake cable, or my new brakes. So I'll have to figure out something that's gonna work somehow. So that's why that's there. Then found this. This right here is gonna be our speedo cable. And when I checked it out, it didn't come with any like lube or anything. So we're just gonna put it in there and assume that everything's copacetic. And when it inevitably burns up after a few months, I'll grumble about how things aren't made like they used to be, and I'll have to buy a new one. Alright, got the speedo cable hooked up. See, this has a little clip here. That's what retains it. And it just goes in there. Goes in like the middle, it connects. Makes direct connection. Then I also have the tack hooked up. You can barely see those wires over there. There we go. Now I can go ahead and put the little screws in that retain this, because everything's hooked up. And the speedo's reading 0, which is a good sign. Now, this end is what goes into an adapter that I bought for the TKX. Since the TKX uses a Ford-style speedo gear, you have to get an adapter if you're going to run cable driven. I have said adapter, and I need to make sure that I have a big enough hole through the firewall. If I don't, I'm going to have to drill a hole. I'm not sure that I have a hole. So I'm going to have to go and look underneath the hood, and we'll look for a hole. And if there is one, all I've got to do is look for daylight and get this through just a little bit, and I'll pull it through. And what we're trying to do is make a kind of loop like this, just a loop back to the trans and connect it, is what we try to do. Now, as of right now, that's not necessarily a priority. We did get it hooked up just so that we can get this all done. So, next, we're going to try to find these little screws for this. I don't know if I have any in this little screw kit that I bought. I don't know where it went. Fell somewhere. I do have the brake cable hooked up. The clutch is also somewhat hooked up. I say somewhat because I don't have the cotter pin through it, and it's going to be hard to get that cotter pin through there. So I'm going to have to work with that for a while. And then once that's through, well, once that's through, we really just need the engine and trans in here, honestly. Thanks, Amazon, for not sending that stuff on time. It's the last time I order anything through Amazon. I was able to find 3 little screws. One here, one there, and one there. This one must be stripped because it will not tighten at all. So we got one missing there. Either that or it's just gone. And then, of course, for this switch, we got the 2 missing. But we still have this. So for the light switch will still work because it's kind of lighter resistance. So that's good. And we got that in there. So it's nice and tightened down. Next is getting that heater control in and wiring up the radio and getting this courtesy lamp done. And then these wires are going to get gingerly placed in their new home. And whatever I'm not using will just be taped up. Like those courtesy lights for that side. I'm not going to hook that up because the kick panel's already on. So the passenger side's are just not going to work for the dome light. And I might not even hook up the dome light. I don't know yet. It's kind of something that I don't really know if I really even need. It's one of those things where you just never see one work. So you think, well, you know, it'd be kind of cool to have it work. But at the same time, don't really know if I care. So there is that. I'll tell you, this camera's so much more buggy than the Action 1. Osmo Action 4. Been messing around for the past couple minutes trying to get it to turn on. So I think we're not even going to worry about a heater at this point. I am quite defeated when it comes to this heater. So I don't even know where the wire is that goes through the firewall. So we're just going to ignore it. Pretend that it never happened. And when we're going down the highway, we'll just switch the heater to the on position. And because there's no blower motor, the heater mostly won't work. It'll still come on. I guess I could just bypass it, but it'll still come on. And from a little bit of updraft from the car, it might be able to clear up this side barely at all if it's raining or something. But at that point, I'll just grab a damn washcloth and do the old wipe off the windshield trick. Or I'll just pull over somewhere when it starts to rain. Or I'll eventually fix this and stop whining about it. You never know. Miracles do happen. That being said, I'm going to put this in because I'm not going to swap out the other one. I feel like that's just a lot of extra work for nothing. We're just going to put this one in because it's already hooked up, and we're not going to hook up the blower motor anyway, even though we have this guy here, because I would have to take that and put that back on, and I don't want that on. It's big and bulky, and I kind of prefer how that's looking right now anyway, because if I put that in the off position, then I don't know, it looks better to me like that. Like I've got more room in here. So, not going to worry about it because the blower motor is up in there. That's where it's at. So if you turned it on, it'd push air through here because this is an AC car. So, and it's not even a big blower motor either. It's a tiny little guy. It wouldn't be right if I didn't change my mind every 10 seconds. So, see, there's a bug right there. We got a little bug flying around. Pretty much ready for the engine and trans if Amazon wasn't the slowest business on the planet. We only have to do a couple more things in here, really. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. This has been quite the journey. Quite the transformation. This car is looking more and more like a driver every day. And yes, I'm going for a driver look. I'm not going for like a show car or anything. I bought this from my friend because he had so many projects going on that he just didn't have time for it. He has a Super Duty Trans Am, and I think also a 75 that he's restoring, and he also had a 68 GTO. So he's got a lot of stuff on his plate, and we got this 79 Firebird because he was gonna fix it up and use it as a driver. But then he decided it was just a little too much extra work. So I told him, hey, I'll gladly own a third 79 Firebird. So I went ahead and bought it. So now I own 3 of these at the same time. And I paid one hell of a price. I mean, I certainly got the friend price, as I paid $1,500 for this car with the clean title. And he also gave me mirrored T-tops. If you know what those are, they're insanely expensive. Very hard to find. Mirrored T-tops, instead of having just like the darkened shade that most T-tops have, like this one. So these T-tops are just darkened. These are pretty much standard. It'll have mirrored reflection on the top. Well, got these from the other car on here. 3 of them anyway. I think they actually do look better. Now, unfortunately, they are a little bit dry rotted. Well, one of them is. This one has some, well, where was it? Right here. It's got some like right there if I move my hand. So around the A and S, you can see where it's starting to dry rot. This one has got some around here, which is a shame because these tires were close to brand new. And then over here, I only replaced one of these that were completely flat, this one. And this has got dry rot. And I didn't change the back one because, believe it or not, the back one on that other car was just as bad. Okay, today I'm gonna wire up that wiper motor. I've got the 1979 version. 1980 version has slightly different build. You can see it there. So 1980 is slightly different. It's just got pulse wiper edition. So we'll go ahead and get this done here. This only has 5 things going to it, so it should be relatively simple. So you can see low speed, high speed, the washer, wiper feed, and then the pulse wiper, which we're not using. So I already have those separated and sitting right there. We're gonna have to crimp the ends and put these singles on there. And then that is all in this right here, engine harness kit. So we'll go ahead and open this up and grab what we need. Okay, we got this wired up. Wasn't that much of a headache, really. It's just a pretty quick job. Then we got this little piece here that holds the wires. So that'll hold it behind the brake booster. And that's done. So now we can go underneath the dash and go and tidy all that up. And I'm also going to take this remainder here and just sit it back up in here. Because that we'll have to stay there until we get our engine installed. Then we might tackle this truck. This truck was running and driving, but my older sister's idiot boyfriend, while I was active duty, he took it joyriding and took it into a mud bog, and he burnt the clutch out. So I got to change the clutch, and then the truck should run. Can't control what other idiots do, I tell you. Okay, I got most of that hidden. It's all taped up and put up and out of the way. I left out the grounds, as I gotta hook all those grounds up. I gotta find a good place for them. And then I left out the speedo and these speaker cables. But it looks a lot better in here, I think. It's starting to come together. Looking way better. Went ahead and cut this thing off, because I'm almost 100% certain that those are for the dimmer switch. I have to wait until those shop crane wheels get here, and then we'll put the engine and trans in. And when that's installed, we're so freaking close. I did order some setup bearings. I was gonna make my own, but my little hands are so weak that it's hard for me to actually stand there for like an hour with a drill, and my carpal tunnel just acts up horribly. So I went ahead and ordered setup bearings, Timkins, off of eBay, and I took a shot in the dark and ordered them. And we'll see. I guess when they get here, I'll do a little review on them. Well, we'll see how they work. They are the exact bearings that go on the pinion, so. Okay, you can't really see this, but I put the bolt in over here and the bolt in over there. So that's on, and then I got one bolt holding in the centerpiece there that covers that up. Gotta go and get one from the store. So we made some progress, and I need to hurry up and get this job done because I see more and more insects every day. So what I'm gonna do is, I got the stereo hooked up. I do need to go ahead and take those off to make sure that they're not gonna short out or anything. And one of those is a ground that needs to be hooked up for the radio. So that needs to be done. And then the ones that aren't used, I'll just tape them together and put a bunch of electrical tape around them and put it in there and hide it somewhere to where I don't ever have to see it again. It's like rust here. This isn't rust. This is some kind of sealant. So all that you see where you're like, oh man, what is all that rust? That is not rust. That is some form of sealant that somebody used. And you know what? I got really lucky because I'm not going to have to cut any openings for my stereo. That'll just go up in there. So that's good. One less thing, right? So we'll go ahead and start getting this stuff done. Alright. We got this on. It does look like a kind of like just a standard Trans Am steering wheel. The difference is it doesn't have the holes here, and it has 8 instead of 6. And I got the Pontiac emblem. I am kind of disappointed with this because it was just a little sticker. If I had known that, I probably wouldn't have ordered this. It just feels really cheap to me. But put it on straight. I made sure the tires were straight, and that's about as straight as I could get it right there. So it'll sit with a slight little angle when it's straight, but it's not too bad considering, because there is a little bit of play here. So if I turn that, it'll look straightish. Straight-ish. So we'll go ahead and probably get our speakers installed next. I'm not too happy with this. I mean, it's okay. The steering wheel doesn't even feel better than a stock steering wheel. This just feels kind of, I don't know. Maybe it'll grow on me though, hopefully. It is shiny and new, so at least there's that. But it does look a lot better in here, and I think, let's see, that should be right there. That should be right at where it would be riding at. That doesn't look too bad. I do like the fact that it does have the Pontiac emblem. I mean, like I said, I wish it was a real emblem instead of being, you know, instead of being a sticker. But anyway, we'll get those speakers next. Alright, I got my speakers I'm installing, and I'm installing these because I've had these laying around since about 2015. They're brand new, never did anything with them. They've just been sitting in my closet. So we're finally going to install these. And I got these for my side marker lights. So we'll put those in. And then I also got some more bolts to install these here. And some bolts to hold my dash in. I needed one bolt on one side. Then I needed the 2 bolts that hold up the centerpiece underneath the steering column. So we've got those. Go ahead and install them. Okay, I got these bolts put in both sides to hold the dash, so now the dash won't go anywhere. And I got these 2 down here put in, but we've got this slightly won't match up. These do need to be tightened down though. Got one right there, one right there. But this slightly will hang out. I gotta figure out, see how to make it flush. Other than that, it's starting to look good in here. I got the radio the rest of the way wired up. And I started on my grounds. I haven't done any inside the car. But the grounds are done for the rear. So the rear body harness, so all the rear lights their grounds are hooked up, and all the front lights grounds are hooked up. So now all we need are to hook up the dash grounds, which there's not too many of them. It's like 6 or 7 probably. And I'll hook that to the middle piece on the back of the dash, which connects to right here where it connects, because that'll ground it. And that's about it, really. I mean, I started on the speakers. I have that one sitting in there, but I had to take those little screws back out because they're not long enough. I'm going to have to go back to the hardware store tomorrow and get ones that are about twice as long. Hopefully they have them. And that'll hold it right where it's at, which will be a good spot to hold it. I know it's not quite going where I want it to go because I wish it would go in there further, but I do not want to cut that hole any wider. I'm so tired of cutting stuff. So I'll just put that there and it'll hold it. It'll hold it there tight as long as I tighten all those up. And I'll put blue thread locker on them so they won't ever move. No, I probably won't do that. So we'll hook those up and then we'll feed the speaker up through and follow the rear harness there, and then we'll hook it up there. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Here's the other speaker. It's just going to sit here for now. I'll even put that back in it just in case some kind of critter comes in here and knocks it around. So we're slowly getting this done, and it really feels good. Gotta say. Yeah, I mean, it's starting to come together. I know I've been saying that a lot lately, but I'm real excited to get this car on the road. And all the hard work is finally paying off. So nothing feels better than having a project car, you know, starting with something that is just a roller and seeing it through to the end. I mean, nothing feels better than that. So I think that steering wheel's really grown on me. That thing does look pretty sharp in there. That's what we call a 10-footer, right? Now it's starting to really grow on me. Looks good. But we probably won't do too much on this tomorrow. It's going to be about 40 degrees for the high. So I'll just have to mostly stay inside tomorrow. Next thing for this hood is probably going to put hood pins on it. because the hood latch I had to take off because the hood latch was just destroyed. And I don't even know if I can get one of those from Year One or not. So, or from Classic Industries. Because Year One, their website's slightly better than Classic Industries, but not much. If you ever use their website, you know what I'm talking about. I think they really both need to update their websites. Classic Industries is just such a bad website. It's so rough. But that's that. And then, once that car's on the road, we're gonna start messing with this car. Now this has a 350 Chevy in it right now, and more than likely it's gonna need a new cam before too long. It's I mean, it might last quite a while, or it might go tomorrow, who knows. But starting to show the first signs of that. So, you know, what are you gonna do? And I think it's mainly the first lobe, because it seems like that's the cylinder that's having problems. So anyway, after I pull that, I may or may not put a Pontiac 350 in this, because I feel like it's a Pontiac, it should have a Pontiac engine, and I already have a Pontiac that's got a 350 Chevy in it, so I kind of don't want another one. So having a Pontiac powered Pontiac sounds like a good idea. So I might hook it up. Most of the hard work's already been done anyway. I just have to pull the engine, change the motor mounts, put the new engine in, change the transmission. And I think I've got a Buick Olds Pontiac Turbo 350 sitting around here. I know I've got a Chevy one. I might have a Buick one, or Buick Olds Pontiac. So I'll just have to look and see. And if I don't have one, then I'll just buy one. Because, well, I do have one actually. I have one in that car right there. And if I'm going to change that to a 455 Oldsmobile with a TKX, then I need to take that trans and put it to good use. That one's a manual valve body. And those are fun to drive. I don't hate those, but I think that manual valve body is more for the strip more than anything. I mean, I don't really like daily driving them as much. They're fun, but it's just if you want an automatic, you just more than likely you just want to throw it in drive and go, stop and go traffic, that kind of thing. Because I like stick shifts. I'm not really an automatic guy. The only reason that I'm keeping an automatic in this is because I'm pretty sure it's got highway gears. I don't even know if it's got a positive traction. I think I need to jack this car up and then check. And if you don't know, if you jack the rear up and you turn the tire, if it turns, it's an open differential. And if it doesn't turn, then it's got a positive track. And there's also a way that you can tell what rear gear it's got. So however many times the drive shaft turns, you need to watch that for your revolutions on your tire. And I think with a open differential, you either multiply it by 2 or divide it by 2. I can't remember exactly. I did that for that Firebird, and that's how I know that that's got a 241. So that's how I know that's got a 241 open diff. Because that, unfortunately, that Firebird, they put all those 241s and 256s in there. And then for the Trans Ams, they got the 273s with the rear gear, or with the posi rear gear, if they were an automatic. And if they were a stick shift, then they got either 308 or what was it, a 320 something, which is what that 10th anniversary would have. I think like a 320 something, I can't remember. Feeling tired now. Done a lot on that car today. Got a lot of that extra stuff done. I mean, we're almost to the point to where we only have 2 things really left to do. That's, well, 2 big things. ring and pinion, that's number one, and I'm waiting on those setup bearings. Number two is installing the engine and the trans, and then finishing the wiring in the engine bay. And then we're going to have to cut out that rusted out spot on the passenger side floor and weld in the new one. And then we just put the rest of the interior in. So we're going to start doing all that in about a week. We're going to start doing all the interior work. So all the stuff that I can do without the carpet. So that includes essentially door panels and up. We'll get all that done. We'll probably put the seats in so that I can drive the car to get inspected and leave the carpet out. And then once I get back and have it all inspected, I'm going to wait a little while and then buy my new welder and then weld in the floors with that new welder. Because I'm going to get an Eastwood. Just because they're pretty affordable, and as MIG welders go, everybody says they're really good. So I'm going to grab one of those and weld those floors in. I do need to, actually I just thought of this, I do need to change a couple more things actually. Wheel bearings, those need to be changed. And probably the rear shocks need changed because they're air shocks, and I really don't want to run those. They're just so old and just, oh man, they're just in bad shape. So I'll just get some new ones that are easy to adjust, and I'll put those on in the rear. And then the front, I don't know if I'll change those yet. I want to see how the car drives and see if it really needs it. And I might end up doing that. Upper and lower control arms, might change all of that, I don't know yet. But I might leave it alone. If the car runs good, I'll leave it be. Because if it doesn't need it, then it doesn't need it. And then we're taking a break, and I want to get either a like a ramp truck or a wedge truck or something like that. I really like one of those. And I'd also like a 68 to 72 Buick Skylark. I'd like to get a roller and just put my own engine and trans in it. And then I'd like to get a good shop built. So I have a couple of different things I'm looking to do. So, well, I guess we're done.